Hey everyone, welcome back to the Champion Draft Series Week 6 with me, Shadox, leader of the Canadian Chimeslimes, and this week we're going against Spidz and the Redeemed Qualities, who were the champions of the last CDS. So, pretty exciting to play against the former champion, Spidz from Arcane. And yeah, we're just gonna go through it. Talk about why we brought what we brought, talk about what I wanted to prepare for, and we're just gonna... So the format's gonna be bit different as well. I didn't get to stream or like record the game with my commentary. I just did a straight gameplay recording. So I'll talk through the gameplay, some of the interesting parts at least, and we'll go from there. So let's get into it. So this is a Spidz lineup of champions. For those who don't know, it's Gwen, Leona, Draven, Nilah, Kennen, Lucian, Sejuani, Kai'Sa, Gangplank, and the Poro King. So first thing stands out to me is almost every region available, except PNZ, which is a bit interesting. Looking at Spidz match history from the past weeks, I believe every week she's brought Gwen. And she really likes to bring a Draven deck. She likes to bring a Lucian deck. She likes to bring Gangplank Sejuani. But the thing that stands out is like a lot of these are just, you know, slam units on the board, swing kind of decks, right? The only exception would have been sometimes she brings Kai'Sa, Kennen, Shellfolk, which is a bit annoying. So at first I was worried about it. And I was thinking that, oh, you know, I guess I have to play Explorers to get rid of the landmark, or, you know, some sort of landmark removal, something like that, right? Hard removal for the Shellfolk in case she does bring it. But like thinking back now, maybe I should have just banned it if it came up and prepared for other things. Because, like I said, seems to have kind of a normal play pattern of decks. The Poro King could kind of be an exception as well. I don't know what to classify the Poro King as. It's a interesting deck. Like it is kind of like slam your units, buff them up and do stuff, but it's also not, because you can't... I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, I just hoped I didn't see Shellfolk or Poro King, and I hoped I would see a, you know, Gangplank Sejuani or like Leona Draven, Leona Gwen, or something, you know, along those lines. Bandle Swarmy deck or something, which, spoilers, we did see those. And so that's where I decided to start building my lineup around, was something to beat that. And the first thing that came to my mind was Freljord. Freljord's great against all that. Frostbite, great. The other thing was SI could have also been good versus these decks, because it does have hard removal. It's got like Vengeance, it's got Eradication, things like that. Another thing that was in my mind was Noxus has some really great removal for these kind of decks. One key thing I had in mind was dealing with 4 health units because of Kai'Sa, Gwen, and Gangplank. And I guess Nilah as well, because those unleveled are 4 health. And Flock was like one of the big things that came to my mind, which I didn't end up bringing at all. I didn't end up bringing Shadow Owls either, which was a bit funny. But I did bring Freljord because I thought Freljord was really good. And also with my roster of champions, I can build a lot of different things. And if you see my past history of decks that I brought to the CDS, I've brought something new like almost every week. So I kind of wanted to stick with that. I don't have to bring something new, but I like to. So here, the first deck, Viktor Lissandra. Second deck, Shen Renekton. Third deck, Illaoi Lux. I have a lot of different decks ready to go. Just needs a bit of tweaking depending on who I face. And this is one of them. And this is one I was more excited to bring because I've always wanted to play like these elemental sort of decks. So it's Viktor Lissandra with the elemental package, including Clash of Giants, Kisahomie, as some of you may know it as. I don't know if I want to say standard, because I kind of just jammed all the good elemental spells in. But it's exactly, when I say it's an elemental P&Z deck, it's probably exactly what you'd think of, right? I've put in some freezes. I've got one Brittle Steel, one Flash Freeze, and double Harsh Winds as my freeze package. I've got Sky Splitter as, you know, just a very good buff card. 2 Avalanches in case, it's not in case, but like it is good against most of their decks. You know, the Gwen Demacia decks, the Red Gwen decks. It's, I want to say it's great against those, but it's okay to buy me a turn or so, although it does give them like hollowed stacks and whatnot. It's great against the Vandal Swarm decks, and I think it's kind of great against Plunder as well, unless they're on Spirits Unleashed and have multiple Spirits Unleashed? Because I think one doesn't cut it, does it? One might cut it. So as long as they find Spirits Unleashed, they should be okay. But otherwise, Avalanche should be good there for me. The other thing is Divine Whirlwind and Howling Gale are just good removal. Howling Gale in particular, like I said before, I wanted to have ways to clear off these 4 health units or so, and Howling Gale can do that, and it can even go up to 5 health. So Howling Gale is just really good. I got 1 Gale Song Call, just a cheap elemental spell, plus a blocker. And I think in terms of spells, that's about it. That's special. I've got 3 Sunken Temple because Temple's OP, and it's really good in this style of deck to make things cheaper, recycle my hand, things like that. 3 Iacilla. I still never know how to pronounce this name. Isilia? I got 3 of those. 3 might have been overkill, but she's really good to double things. Like, doubling a Sky Splitter is huge. Doubling Avalanche to clear off, like, the entire board usually is really good. Like, doubling Harsh Winds and the freezes don't do anything, but doubling those work. Like, I got the 1 Eye of the Storm too, just as some draw, and it's an elemental spell, so I can double it and draw 4 if I need to. Doubling Clash of Giants is a possibility that probably won't happen, but it's there. She also works especially well with the Flame Caller Caprine that I have. I've got 3 of those as well, since it's an elemental deck, and it is a great blocking unit. It's a great unit against Spidz decks that she likes to bring. What's Gwen gonna do to like a giant tough unit? What is, you know, Lucian gonna run into? What's Draven gonna do? Leona has to pull it, right? Like, it's a big wall to get past. Other than that, 3 Miriam, 2 Pioneer, 3 Viktor, 3 Lissandra. Victor's just a crazy unit. Lissandra's like, she's weird, but she's okay. So that was a strategy I was going for with this. Shen Renekton. So anyone who knows, I love to play this Lucky Find Eye of the Dragon deck, and I've had so many versions. The normal one you've probably seen me play was like Soul Squirrel with a Dragon Kick. What's the actual name? Dragon's Rage, I think is the actual name of the card. And then, you know, Eye of the Dragon plus Payday is like an instant Dragonling flow proc. Usually it's Akshan Yi. I don't have either of those, so I have to go with Renekton Shen. So my thinking here was Quicksand is a hell of a card. Sonic Wave is a hell of a card as well. If I can find my champions and start getting some, you know, board clear out that way. The other the other interesting cards I have here are 2 Horns of the Dragon. Another thing I noticed with Spidz deck is there isn't too many like hard removals or like really good interaction cards. She usually focuses more on just playing the board and keeping her board intact rather than controlling my board. So like, if I remember correctly, there's been sometimes a pair of Vengeance maybe, which was like the most interaction the hardest interaction I've seen. There's been, I guess, Fervors if you want to count those. There's been single combats a couple times. Single combat I wouldn't really count as like very good interaction, especially if we're talking about Horns of the Dragon. It's got 6 health. What the hell's gonna clear that thing? So Horns of the Dragon was kind of just like another funny win con I want to go with, because I also wanted to pair it with Void Abomination. Looking back now, maybe I didn't need Void Abomination at all, and Horns would have been enough. The way this deck kind of works is usually you build your own big unit with Lucky Finds and Glaive, Paydays, things like that. 1 supercharge. That's usually what I do. Like, I've gotten up to like 15-20 Eye of the Dragons before with Overwhelm, Challenger, Spell Shield. Like, it's all because of Glaive and Lucky Finds. So that's what I could have. Well, that's what I wanted to do with Horns of the Dragon. Void Abomination, I just kind of threw in there because, like I said, lack of hard removal. If I made it to turn 9, that thing was usually coming down and ending the game. It would have, like, it could have Overwhelm, it could have Barrier, Spell Shield, Elusive, Challenger, Tough, Double Attack, and I think I'm missing something. Challenger? Challenger, Overwhelm, Barrier, Spell Shield, Double Attack, Elusive, Lifesteal. Anyways, yeah, I could have a ton of keywords and just, like, end the game on its own. So that's kind of why I threw it in there. Looking back, I could have just, like, left the Horns of the Dragon as the top end plus Renekton doing funny stuff and tried to stall out more. I could have added some more stuns, recalls, stuff like that. I don't think recalls were that good, actually, in this deck. Stuns, maybe. But anyways, I was pretty happy with how the build was. Portal Pioneer. So like I mentioned before, I was scared of Shellfolk. Well, that's why I had this Portal Pioneer here. It's also good with Eye of the Dragon, triggering flow and stuff. It's just like I said, looking back, I could have just banned a Shellfolk deck if they did go with that. Finally, we have a Lux Illaoi, which is kind of a standard Lux Illaoi list, I'd say. I just think that both champions, Lux and Illaoi, are really good against what I expected to see from Spidz. Illaoi is really big, 6 health, is really tough to get past, and then on top of that, growing with a tentacle, dealing a ton of damage, Cataclysm allowing me to swing twice sometimes. It just helps race in certain matchups where I can build a big tentacle, build a big Illaoi, you got to deal with it or you die. And Lux, on the other hand, offers more of a control-y package. Lux herself, I just slam her down. She's got Barrier, great blocker. You know, it's either you attack into her and give me one of your units, or otherwise, you know what, your attack's ruined. Then from that point on, she builds 4 damage lasers, usually every turn, which clears out most things. And if it doesn't clear it out with just a laser, it's just like a chump block away, plus a laser, or like a single combat, or a Tidal Invocation, Tentacle Smash. You know, there's ways to finish it off from there on. And I've got 5 6-cost spells, which will instantly give me a laser. But otherwise, I've got a lot of other ways to make lasers. Quickly. I've got like I plus Range Resolve, I plus Single Combat, Tidal Invocation, things like that. I can go Cataclysm plus Tentacle Smash to get a laser. There's like a lot of little things. But other than that, nothing too remarkable about this list. I've got 2 Hired Gun and 1 Broadwing. I didn't really like Broadwing much. I preferred Higher Gun to give the strongest unit challenger because I didn't want to, like, I'd rather pull with my stronger units instead of pulling with a 0-3 Broadwing, because like I said, the bigger units are usually 4 health and those are the more important ones I want to clear, and I'd rather have Illaoi pull a Gwen rather than a Broadwing pulling a Gwen or something like that. And one of Dark Aegis, I just think Dark Aegis, the draw specifically, is like really good. So that's why I have that there. But yeah, I guess that about wraps it up for my decks. Next we have the decks that Spidz brought. We've got Draven Leona, not too surprised, pretty standard Noxus Leona deck. A couple of interesting cards I see. There is 2 Morning Lights, which I don't see too often, which I like a lot. There is also 1 of Reckless Trifarian, which I haven't seen in a while in this list, as well as only 1 Solari Shieldbearer, which I think is correct because it's actually not too good of a card sometimes. But yes, I like the 1 of Shieldbearer instead of like 3 of or something. I like putting in the double Flame Spitter, only 2 Might as well, so you're not going like triple Might game plan. The Moonlight Affliction is really nice too, 1 Sunburst, double Fervor, so it's a lot of like 2 ofs instead of like 3 ofs in terms of the spells. Like there is no 3 ofs. It's all just like 2 2 2 2 1 1 1. The other list here is Kennen Nilah, which just seems to be like Bandle Swarm, Tide Dancer stuff. You see 2 Biggle Dust, immediately it's Bandle Swarm. So they've got Triple Portal Scholar, which will help flood the board with their portals, as well as the Triple Portapalooza, as well as providing the 1 impact to the units that come out of the portals. and the units that come out of Mirai Warden. I don't think anything else creates units here, right? There's Bilgewater Tailstones that could create Chum the Water Shark, or the kegs, give the kegs impact, you know, something like that. Otherwise, not much else to say. Vandal Swarm, Triple Tide Dancer is interesting. Could be a problem if you run into that. But yeah, Pie Toss shouldn't be too effective versus us. Like, these pings shouldn't be too effective versus our decks. Maybe versus the Dragonlings, but that's probably about it. I just gotta try and keep the board tame, essentially, with this deck. And then finally, we have Plunder, another expected deck to see. Nothing too remarkable. The double Babbling Bjerg is really nice. Find your champions. Triple Spirits Unleashed is scary for me, but understandable. In this deck, double Eye of Nagakoboros. Just more draw. One of Piltover Castaway is neat. Basically, get one equipment you want. You could look for Scout, put it onto your champions. You could look for... I don't think Overwhelm really does too much. You can look for Overwhelm. What else? What other... Fearsome, maybe? Could be a problem. Otherwise, I can't really think of many other good weapons you want. I think Scout is probably like the biggest one. You could get Shepherd's Authority too. Put it on a Zap. That would be like a bit annoying as well. But yeah, Plunder. So I guess let's see how these games go. So starting off with the bans, I decided to ban the Draven Leona simply because I felt for the Bandle deck, it had a lot of units that I could ping off with things like Tidal Invocation. I've got Ice Shard to, sorry, not Ice Shard, Avalanche to stop their big boards. I've got Eye of the Dragons to stall out. I've got Sonic Wave to challenge Nilah or any of the bigger things. Same kind of concept goes for the Plunder deck, though the issue would be if they played Spirits Unleashed and then things start to get out of range. But I think the thing about Plunder is if I can deny them the early Plunder procs, it should slow them down enough for me to stabilize as well. And if we can get to that point, I should be able to just win out from there. And then the issue with the Draven Leona deck is, while they also have similar kind of swarmy style of a deck, they do have some problematic cards like Sun Guardian. Leona herself is a bit of an issue as well. Draven not too much, but they do have some harder to deal with wide boards. So as we can see here, they did go with the Illaoi Lux ban, and I think it's simply just because it is the most normal looking deck. On top of that, Illaoi and Lux themselves are really strong against I want to say this style of board-based sort of deck, because Lux herself comes down, you know, gets like a free block because she has barrier, and then she starts generating 4 damage lasers usually every turn from that point on, or at least every other, which does clear out most of the big threats, with the exception of, you know, Sejuani or Leona, or leveled Gangplank or something like that. Tide Dancer as well. Sun Guardian if it gets up there. So Lux doesn't clear everything, but it does clear most things, and the things it doesn't clear, it's simply another ping away, or, you know, a chump block away. Illaoi can really race these other decks. As a 2/6 overwhelm unit that grows depending on the tentacle, I was fairly confident that Illaoi would be able to just outpace them if I got her going early, like finding Idol into like Sea's Voice into Illaoi, Cataclysm, things like that, especially against like the Bandle deck that doesn't have very healthy, like they usually have like 2 health, 1 health units, like nothing that can really withstand a big overwhelm hit too much. Same goes for Plunder as well, actually, you know, with the exception of them playing Spirit Unleashed a few times or having a champ. There wasn't anything that was very like thick, you know, to block this overwhelm. So I understand why Illaoi Lux was banned and the other 2 were left up. Yeah, so there's a good hand. I'm mostly looking for early blockers and removal, and I found both. So I got rid of Gale. Don't really need it right now. come in handy later if I find it, but at the moment, not now. Saving it more for champions. Alright, just play Miriam. So I go for the refill on spell mana so I can Mystic the Mirai and deny the Plunder proc. So here I open attack so I don't get a blocker down. Parlay for the Plunder proc. And here I decide to play Lissandra instead of going for either Miriam and recycling or going for just a pass. I think getting this Thrall counting down, like right now, will be really good. I've already denied a couple of Plunder procs, so around by the time the Thrall comes out, they in theory would have their champions, so I'll have a nice 8/8 blocker or attacker for when that time comes. Harsh Winds, nice draw. Spirits Unleashed was pretty scary. Makes things much harder to clear, but it gives me a turn to play Viktor nicely. Start generating these keywords. Yuri was pretty nice as well. Lets me get like good blocks while retaining the stats. So here I thought it was a bit interesting that she played Gangplank, because it generated the keg just for me to pull for free, especially after seeing Fury come down. So I essentially kind of traded into this for free, even though it has one attack. It just heals Viktor back up with the Fury, and I gain an extra attack. So next turn I could trade Viktor into Gangplank now, if I decide to go that route. Sejuani, very annoying. Forces out the Harsh Winds, which I think was a good time to use. Denies more Plunder procs, plus keeps the Viktor alive. Yep, just keep making these keywords, progressing Viktor level. Lifesteal, very nice. We're already healthy, but with double overwhelm units on the board, can't go wrong. But it was a good time to play Temple. This Zap was pretty annoying. And I think looking back here, maybe I should have Whirlwinded the Zap simply because it's an elusive unit, and I don't have a blocker for an elusive unit. Whereas I do have a blocker for this 5/3. So yeah, not sure exactly if it's right or not. I mean, they don't have mana right now to replay the weapon, but next turn they do. So yeah, Sky Splitter was a very nice draw. So it lets my Viktor stay alive when trading in. And like I said, they re-equip the weapon onto the Zap, and I have no blocker for it. Faded was a great hit because of the Sky Splitter now. Gives the extra buff there. So just try and block efficiently here. I go... So... yeah. I pre-commit the Sky Splitter. instead of waiting for anything. So the scary thing there was if they had another Sejuani in hand, Viktor... Wait, hold on, let me see. Because at the time I was thinking... Yeah, so pre-commit the Sky Splitter, trade into the Gangplank instead of the Sejuani. I don't know if that was right or not. One of the main reasons I wanted to do that was because I didn't want them to play another Sejuani on their next attack token and, you know, pull Viktor or something. Although removing Sejuani off the board to prevent her from, you know, doing her freeze shenanigans would have been nice. But I think I'm happy with going for Gangplank instead. Also, the other thing that worried me was if they did have another Sejuani in hand, they could just play the Fury of the North here to kill off this Viktor. But I think it was a worthwhile trade if they did do that. I have my temple going. I've got a Thrall coming out in their next attack token. So I was quite fine if they did want to trade into this Viktor and use their second Sejuani. Yeah, another Spirits Unleashed was pretty scary here. Sejuani levels off of it. But now I have to be extra careful when attacking in. Because if they have a warning shot or make it rain or something, you know, my board gets frozen. I'm playing this out just to get elemental procs for when I do end up finding Clash of Giants again or making board space. It's also just another tiny blocker. Well, they had another Gangplank. Now they got both champs on board. The keg gets obliterated because there's no room. I guess which is nice for them. So Viktor can't get another free lifesteal or a Fury stack here. Here, I am, you know, obviously telling them I'm going to clear this Sejuani with something. So I trade the Challenger in, I Howling Gale. And I know how, like, before I said that, you know, I didn't want to make room for another Sedge, but here I do it anyways. So, like, now looking back, obviously, maybe I should have went for the clear on Sejuani instead of Gangplank the other turn. So I have an Entomb and Flash Freeze, so I was feeling pretty safe. If they lock in this attack, I'm really just debating on, do I Entomb this and get rid of this weapon, or do I Flash Freeze it? The only thing about the Entomb is when, you know, Zap comes back, he gets them another spell, and I don't think I really wanted that. And Entomb was also Lissandra, so it's like a, you know, a free card since it just goes back into my deck. Whereas Flash Freeze was like an actual resource used. Viktor finally flips, and he's got Quick Attack, which is one of the keywords I really wanted. We drew another Sky Splitter, which was huge. I really wanted Overwhelm, but he's already big enough that nothing can really stop him. Aside from, you know, being frozen by Sejuani. They're not on any Three Sisters or Freezes as well. So very little interaction to deal, almost no interaction to deal with this Viktor, actually. aside from Sejuani. And we found a Clash of Giants, but no room to play it. I could play it for 1 unit, but probably not worth it. They found Sejuani again. They go for the Viktor, which is, you know, what they need to do. They have to get rid of this Viktor somehow. So I go for another keyword here. Again, feeling very safe. I've got the Entomb again for the Sejuani. If they want to go for Make It Rain or something here. I've got the Harsh Winds, if needed be. I've even got Eye of the Storm to buff this Viktor up, depending on what they pull with. And because he has Faded, he would go up to 4 attack. So 2 plus 2, yeah, 4 attack. Yep, so I just go for, you know, nice even blocks here. I go for the Entomb now, so that Sedge is off the board before the Gangplank effect goes off. If they pulled Viktor with Gangplank instead, it might have been better for them, but I do have the Harsh Winds, so it would just mean I'd have to use that as well. And then I go for the Gale. I just start clearing off everything I can. They're running low on resources. That's, what, 2 Sejuani's gone and 2 Gangplanks gone. So they've got 1 champ of each, and I'm sitting pretty here. I drew triple Flame Caller here. So I thought about just jamming them all onto the board and, like, just playing out this Brittle Steel just to have them as, like, huge blockers. But I think I go for the Isilla here. Just because any elemental spell I draw afterwards will double. Yeah. So like, Eye of the Storm will double, Avalanche will double. Yeah, and then the Sedge comes back from the Entomb. Here I just go for the Avalanche. Clear out 2 of their units, clear off my 1 Ysilla. So what I should have done also here was to play the Eye to get, you know, draw 4 cards right away. But not a big deal. I'm sitting at 19. I am not worried at all. Yeah, if they go for that, I go for the Howling Gale there. I've got the Mystic Shot, I've got the Eye, I have everything. Yeah, I don't even bother to safety block. Viktor has lifesteal, million attack. I can take whatever damage, heal up next turn. Going through the motions here. Like I said before, no interaction. I really wanted to play Clash here just to see what I got, but I didn't want to, you know, stall the game too long or BM anything. So game 1 in the bag. In game 2, we just got to get this Shen Renekton through. So against the Bandle deck, and I really wanted to find Eye of the Dragon. It's a very key card here. Renekton's very good too. Payday as well. So I found the Eye. It's great. Step 1. Yeah, here I just go for the Twin. Good card, keeps my things healthy. Buy-in gets pie tossed. So I take the 2, play the Eye, and then I could play Payday and grab the Eye of the Dragon, but I don't think it's worth it right now. I can just wait till next turn, put the Payday or the Lucky Find on the Renekton. But instead, I find a Glaive, and that just seems way more powerful. The only thing I was worried about now was Wallop. Because from here on out, my Renekton should just keep swinging and, you know, building up these buffs. But essentially, this was their one chance to remove this Renekton while I'm tapped out. So they could go block with 2 attack unit, play Nilah spell, and then pastry it, something like that. Or just wallop it and stop the attack. Try to kill it next turn or something. But they just take it. They have another pool shark, drawing a lot of cards. So I go for the tough. Tough seems pretty good. They find a Tide Dancer, which is really scary. Because the Dragonlings can't really defend against Brash units. So even though they're really good at stalling this, you know, wide board kind of thing, if everything has Brash, there's really no point. So here for the Pioneer, this might be a bit of hindsight, but I think I was debating between Blunder and Refreshments, and I think maybe I should have gone for Blunder. I was worried about the Tide Dancer. I go for Refreshments instead, but like because my thought was if I go for Blunder and they Tide Dancer, there's like almost no chance that they, you know, give me a chance to sorry, they give me a chance to blunder one of their Brash units, and then because usually they'll do it at like burst speed or something in an open attack. The other thing there that I wanted to talk about was, I think this was another misplay. I think I was supposed to go for Challenger instead of Spell Shield. Again, I was just really scared of Wallop. So that's why I went for the Spell Shield instead. But I don't know why. Their deck has like Pie Tosses, it has Kennen, it has like, they have a Nilah on board. So like there's so many things I could pop this Spell Shield for like 1 mana or for cheap. But I still decided to go for it. So I really think I should have gone for Challenger here and like cleared off one of the Elusives or the Nilah. And as you can see, they play Kennen and they just pop the Spell Shield. So waste of a lucky find there. Find another eye, not particularly useful when my board is already kind of this wide. So here, if I had Challenger, I could have killed, you know, something worthwhile. Tide Dancer comes down. Really scary for me. I was thinking, you know, I'd be fine. I just, you know, block out Tide Dancer, the Dragonling, and then block the rest of the stuff. Heal up here, top myself off. But they have another Tide Dancer, and now things do not look good at all. Like, I can already see that I'm dead. Yeah, we've got Nilah leveled. We've got double Tide Dancer. Everything's gonna have Brash and +4, I believe, right? Yeah. It's interesting that they went for that instead of like the double Nilah spell and then I toss on the stack to like give everything, you know, the buff. So it's interesting they gave me another action there. Yeah, I just go like this. I can block the Tide Dancer, but with the way things are, it doesn't work out. Yeah, and then finally we've got Renekton Shen versus Plunder. Here again, I want. As you can see, I decided to keep Glaive, but I have no units. And I really should have kept an early unit. I really wanted to find I wanted to find like even Bakai. But the thing about keeping the Pioneer and the Vestayan is like they're both 1 health. You know, what was that card? Parlay just like kills them, gives them a Plunder proc. I find no units here. I've got Shen next turn, which is nice. But yeah, as you can see, this game is pretty self-explanatory. They go for the open attack here with double Shell Shocker. I'm debating on using Exhaust, maybe Quicksand as well, to just really deny and slow this game down, so I just go for 1 exhaust instead. Don't want to deny the plunder procs, but I deny, you know, 2 damage to my face. Play out Shen. They go for Spirits Unleashed, which really sucks. Here also, maybe I should have gone for Sonic Wave and started clearing these off instead of Lucky Find, since I'm already feeling the pressure. And then also I'd go for Overwhelm here because it seems like with my hand, this is the only way for me to survive, is to try and somehow race them down. And then they go for Mega Rain here. I Nopify it. And I believe they decide to pass. If they attacked with Gangplank, I was happy to trade Shen and then keep the Vestayan alive, so I could slap on the glaive onto the Vestayan. But they didn't. They just passed. Here I just go for Challenger, and I'm pretty sure I'm pulling. Yeah. Yep. Go for that. And then there was a thought I had here. Should I pull the keg, or should I just draw a card? And then again, my hand very shit, so I just want to draw another card. So they're down to 7, which is great, but they do have a Gangplank on board, and he's about to level. Yeah, there it is. Parlay to level up the Gangplank, and now things look... Honestly, they're not looking too bad, because I do have double Quicksand. But still, Gangplank ability is very strong. He's got Overwhelm. He's a 7/6. The Dragonling isn't going to do anything because of Gangplank ability. The Vestayan Disciple also going to die because of Gangplank. I gives them 2 new cards. So Twin was actually like a pretty decent draw. But Sejuani was also a very good card. So when dealing with both of them champs at the same time in Plunder, it's very hard. So this is where I had to make the decision of, how am I gonna win? Is there any way for me to win? Obviously here I can go for Quicksand, deny 3 Overwhelm damage. I can Quicksand the Sejuani and block her as well to deny even more Overwhelm damage. The problem is my board is being wiped and I have no units. So I could hold this Eye of the Dragon back and have some units. I could do something like twin one of them to keep them alive and not block. I thought about twinning Shen and Quicksanding, so I could go, you know, extra hard that way, and commit those resources, but again, it's almost unlikely that I will be able to get a good hit through, simply because Sejuani is on board. Yeah, so I go for the double Quicksand here. I remove the Overwhelm, preserve some life. Thinking about it, I could have... Okay, you'll see here what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so for here, I went for a kind of a really weird play. I saved the Vestayan with Twin, and then I decided to re-equip it with the Glaive. Again, looking back, maybe... How do I... There. Maybe I should have gone for the single Quicksand. Let me look back. Let's see. So I'm taking 14 here. If I went for the single Quicksand on Gangplank plus Twin plus Quicksand again, so 3, 6, 7, 8. I would have enough to do all that. So I go single quicksand on Gangplank, then I could even do single quicksand. Oh no, I can't, because Gangplank ability is gonna kill Shen. But it would have to be twin and double quicksand. Yeah, if I want to stay like tip top healthy. Otherwise, I could have gone. Let me remove this. Like I go twin, Shen goes up to 7 health. I go single quicksand on Gangplank. That keeps Shen alive. I'd be taking 7, 8, 9. Go down to 3. 3's okay. Maybe I should have gone down to 3. And not commit the other quicksand. I wouldn't be getting a Dragonling though, but that doesn't matter too much. But Shen would be alive still. So that was obviously the better play. Quicksand here, twin here, and then take this, and then block these two. 30. So instead, I decided to go for the twin to keep the elusive alive. The other thing I was thinking at the time was, oh, elusive, you can't block it. But Shen has overwhelm, and I've got 2 sonic waves in hand to challenge whatever I want. Like this 3-1, for example. So I could have done that instead. I guess the only difference is the 3-1 is still 1 health blocking. Here, I draw Horns of the Dragon. Not helpful at all. I decide to go for Challenger on the Dragonling and pull. So there was some thought to just doing this and seeing if they have a reaction, like a warning shot, and then commit the 2 sonic waves afterwards. As you can see, I'm already ready to lose here. They didn't have the warning shot. They had Make It Rain. So there was a chance Make It Rain missed. There was a chance. Just saying. But it didn't. Which ends up freezing my board. Makes the attack, you know, worthless. So I guess either way, even with the Shen, it wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, that's that. I don't think there was anything I could have drawn otherwise. Like, if I just didn't commit the Sonic Wave on the Vestayan, and, you know, the 3 damage went through, and I get the whoosh spell, and I draw 1 extra card, there was nothing there I could have drawn that would have stopped the open attack from the Sejuani, from the Gangplank, and the rest of the units. So I think I was doomed either way. But the only real, like, big misplay there, I think, was really just my mulligan and not keeping the Shen alive was an issue, yeah. But yeah, it was a really fun set, and excited to finally play against Spidz there. And I think next week we're against Cephalopod, which is going to be interesting. We'll have to see how that one goes. But yeah, thanks for watching. This time was a bit different on how the video format was, simply because I didn't stream it or like record a normal video. So I just kind of had, you know, it's just me voicing over the recording. So thanks for watching.